Good afternoon. Obviously start off with, disappointed, frustrated that how we really started the game. You come out and we get the ball, they get the ball first, and, they got 15 plays. In every game, you're always going to see things, those first couple drives, that you haven't seen yet. Everybody's got a different game plan. And 15 plays, and I thought our defense hung in there and they really battled. And they got down to the 11-yard line, and we gave up a field goal. Hey, that's a win. Make adjustments. When we come out offensively, in the first play of the game, we get a holding call, and four of our 6 drives, we had a penalty that had it 3rd and 18, 3rd and 23, 3rd and 26, and 3rd and 24. So penalties really set us back in our drives. And you go to the first play of the game, we're sitting there at first and 20. And it's hard to, execute 3rd and 20 plus when you're backed up and you're in a rainstorm with 12 to 15 mile an hour winds. That's just what it was. And not only are you punting the ball back, to your opponent, but you're also losing field position. And in a storm game and in a rain game, field position is just as important as anything. It's one of the things that you have to win. We discussed that. We talked about that. So, you have those 4 penalties that really hurt those drives in the first half and put us so far behind the sticks. It's tough to ask your quarterback to execute into that wind and rain when you're backed up and you can really put your team in a bad position. So then you come out, and it was the 5th drive, and we've got it set up, and we don't handle the operations. We've got a reverse set up. It's pretty clean to the field, but we don't handle it. Okay, next play. So then it's 2nd and 24. So again, we're in 3rd and long in a situation, and it was probably as bad of a half that you could hope for in those conditions. So the thing I was proud of, we continued to fight. They drove down. They went up 6-0. Our defense bent but didn't break. They really stood tough there. They got down to 11 field goal. They get down to the +9 field goal. And we really battled because they got great field position because of, our negative drives. So we go into half. They score right there, I think, 12 seconds before the half, 16-0. And we're sitting there with several opportunities. We get a touchdown right there. It's 7-6. It's 9-7. But that's what it is. I was really proud of how our kids came out, their fight, their toughness. We came out, drive down, score, 2-point conversion. It's 16-8. Give Coastal credit, Then they drive right back down the field and make some big plays and score and take the 2-touchdown lead back. Then we drive back down. So what's the tale of 2 halves? Because you look at our 6 drives in the second half, and we go 5 plays, 74 yards, 4 plays, 74 yards, touchdown. Then we drive all the way back down, and we didn't have any penalties in the second half. We weren't behind the sticks 3rd and 23, 25, 26, and 22. But, we open the second half, 5 plays, 50 yards. March it right down the field. We get stopped on 4th. I'd do it again. I'd call the same play again. So then we go 4 plays, touchdown, 9 plays, 25 yards, and we're right there. And we had opportunities. We had opportunities to make plays, and we just didn't make them there. Defensively, just continued to fight the entire half. So at the end of the day, we put ourselves behind the sticks in the first half offensively, and we fought our tails off to keep it close there. But the fight and the resiliency of this team, and this staff to fight to the end. I was very proud of the team. I was very disappointed in the loss and disappointed that we put ourselves in those situations in 3rd and long, really long, against 12, 15 mile an hour wind and rain, and you got drop 8 on the other side. So, you almost have to surrender right there when you're on the -12 and -15, and we did. So proud of our kids' fight, proud of our staff's, willingness to fight to the end. And, there's a lot of football left. You can't let one loss lead to or affect the next. That was one game. You sit here and you look at this team and you look at this program, year 2. And this team and a lot of this group, these coaches, they fought their tails off to be 5-7 last year. And they've taken a purpose to play for this university in this town. And then they come out and they win the first road game, non-conference road game since 2018. 7 years. And they come back and we beat Arkansas State for the first time in 15 years at home for our fans, for our town. I think we played a pretty good Northwestern team that we moved the ball up and down the field on, and our defense put in 17-second nines. We just didn't execute third downs that situation. And we go to Coastal and we fight our tails off till the end, and didn't get negative and didn't give in. And this team's got a lot of fight left. This team is got 6 games left, and we're sitting here. We would love to be 4-2. We'd love a lot of things, but sometimes you got to earn them, and sometimes you got to be willing to go through tough times, and you got to eliminate negativity, and you got to eliminate the non-believers, and you rally and you circle all the believers, the ones that helped us get here, the one that helped us get here. I guess this is going into game 17 of our tenure, and this team's not going to blink. This staff's not going to blink. We've got a huge football game, going to be a great game Saturday, at home, at 2 o'clock against a really good Troy team. So we're still we're still on the mission. We've got 6 games left. We've got a championship game this Saturday is what we've got. So that's what we're focused on. We're focused on learning from the past and continuing to build for the future, because that's the only way to get there. And we're willing to go. So, questions?
So what has been the approach of the coaching staff this week? Has it been more hard-nosed, take a whip to them, or is it more the love or combination of both?
At the end of the day, we're the same staff every day. I'm the same head coach. Our coaches are the same guys every day. Failure through success. We're the same guys after Arkansas State that we are after Coastal Carolina. And the key is consistency. You're going to have peaks and you're going to have valleys. I mean, how do you handle them both? The same way. You get up and you do it the right way. You get up and you do it the right way, and you lead the right way, and it's positive and it's motivational. Because, look, if we taught our kids and our players to get negative, and we taught our players to back down from challenges, and we taught our players to run from tough times, what would we be teaching them? We'd be teaching them losing. We'd be teaching them failure. So at the end of the day, we own what we showed. We went over exactly how the game played out, how we started the game, put us in behind the 8 ball. And they were all self-inflicted penalties. And when you're 3rd and 20 plus backed up in a 12, 15 mile an hour wind and rain, you've put yourself in a tough situation, especially in those conditions. So, we're honest. We own it. We look at it, and we get up and we go back to work.
Coach, we talked about just plenty more games left to play in this league, and looking back at Coastal, as poorly as the guys played in that first half, to still have a chance and still bring that fight. It talks about the growth. It says a lot about the growth of this program, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, let's be real. And that's why I go back to winning the first non-conference road since 18, to beating Arkansas State for the first time in 15 years. This team has already done some special things. And you know what? Did it hurt us to lose to Alabama? Yes. Did it hurt us to lose to Northwestern? Yes. Was our team disappointed and upset in the locker room? Yeah. You know why? They care. They care. They're passionate about this town. They're passionate about this university. And I don't apologize for that, and never will. And I'm actually proud of that.
You have so many roles. Some think maybe you're stretched too thin. Do you feel like you're stretched too thin?
You know what? Tough times don't last, brother. But tough dudes do. And I believe we're tough. I believe that, everything you go through is for a reason. And I take pride in trying to help build this university. So I'm not backing down or making excuses. There ain't nothing that we can't handle. We're surrounded by good people. We've got people that are taking on extra duties. We got coaches that are taking on extra duties. You know what? If it was easy, everybody'd do it. And everybody would jump in and be willing to take the easy road. We're built different, and that's what it's going to take here. And no. You got to get up and you got to do it again.
Obviously, Troy's coming off a huge victory. What did you especially see from their quarterback? He had just a magnificent performance, and the fact that team was down 28-7 and came back into Texas State.
Well, anytime that every opponent you have to dissect and you have to understand their DNA, and that's why the game plans they take so long. And you got to understand them. And you go to the first game, and they fought back in the second half against Nicholls State, and they won the game. Then they go to Clemson, and they're up 16-0 at Clemson. Okay, they fought back. Clemson's pretty good. Clemson comes back and wins in the end. Then they go to Buffalo. They're down 17-7 with 10 minutes to go in the game in the fourth quarter. Then they're down 3 with 3 minutes and 55 seconds. Down 3. They come back and win the game with a little over a minute. Bat the Hail Mary down in the end zone. They come back and win at Buffalo. That's kind of where it began. Then they've got their rival, South Alabama, at home in a back-and-forth game that I've coached in that game. I know what the rivalry means there. And they come back and they win in overtime. Next step. Then they go to Texas State. They're down 28-7. They come back and win in overtime. So what does that tell you? It tells me a lot. It tells me they're a tough team. It tells me they're a team that believes. It tells me that they're a team that doesn't care about the score. They care about the next snap. They believe in what they do. I think they're as playing as good as anybody in the league. And when I say that there's a championship game coming Saturday at 2 o'clock to Malone Stadium, you've got a championship caliber team in Troy coming to Malone at 2 o'clock. And you'll have a ULM team that's prepared to play.
The other Troy team that you mentioned fights back, continues to fight back. Talk about for these guys, for your guys to finish. Once they get the leads and once they get themselves in position, taking advantage of the opportunities and finishing ball games and not giving them a chance to make that kind of comeback.
And here's how it all works. Here's how that happens. There's always a moment in the season. There's a moment in every season that I've been a part of where there are tough times. We've lost tough games. We've lost games back to back in overtime on the last second. And we ended up coming out of it. It's all how you respond. It's all how you handle it. And I'll never forget, we lost 2 tough games. I think ULL, we lost at home. They broke a 22-game win streak. And then we went to La Tech and lost in overtime. And then we went on and won a conference championship because we never divided. We never got negative. We never jumped off the bus. We never took the easy road. And that doesn't mean it always ends at a rainbow. But how are you going to live your life? How are you going to how are you going to lead? How are you going to do anything? And this team is willing. This team's going to stick together. This team's going to fight. We got everything still in front of us. And if it was easy, everybody'd do it. It would have been done here. So, challenge is we've got 6 conference championship games in front of us. Every one of them is a championship game. Anybody can beat anybody in the Sun Belt. I think it proves itself every year, and it has proven itself again week in and week out this year.
That was a massive win for you guys last year there. Is the personnel changed a lot since last year?
I think that they've got a lot of guys back. Looking at the roster, they've got a lot of guys back, and they've also added a lot of guys. So when you look at them defensively, they're really good in all 3 phases. Their defensive line is disruptive. They're long, they're twitchy, they're big. 0 and 11 are their 2 ends, 6'4", 260 guys that are really twitchy. 11's the 3rd defensive end in, and 19's the 4th end. 0 and really 1 15, they're 3 interior D linemen, and then you look up and you add 98, 93, 99. They've got 8 to 9 really good D linemen that they rotate. But then their inside linebackers, Stringer 7 and 2, they're both really good players. They don't want Stringer 7 to come out because he's that good, and he's a captain. And he's been there for a while. You look at their back end. This is the best back end, one of the best back ends, if not back ends, we'll face all year. 3, they're center fielder. They're Lobos, what we call them. They're middle safety. And then you've got 14 and 6. Man, there's great players, great tacklers in space, very savvy. Their corners, 8 and 5, can really press you, and they can bail technique you. And so we've got our hands full. We've got a great team coming, a great game. But you know what? Isn't that what it's about? Isn't that what it's about? Is the big games each week, and let's prepare. Let's fix our failures. Let's continue to stay the course and continue to be, who we are daily. It's easy to go a different direction, but there's only one direction.
You talk about the secondary. This is a game last year. Aiden stepped in and shined in that one. Another year as well. Again, Aiden, his progression, how much better we've gotten him, but we've seen him grow over the season. Talk about his confidence, knowing this is a tough task.
Well, I mean, he's going to be confident and he's going to be ready. I think you go back to the Northwestern game. I thought he played really good. I thought he played good against a really good team. It just went to Penn State and beat Penn State at home. And then you go back to the Arkansas State game, minus the first play of the game. That was on me. I designed the plays and called them. He did exactly what I told him to do. Played really good against Arkansas State. Showed a lot of grit and toughness to lead us to that first win in 15 years. And there's not a lot of quarterbacks that are going to go out there 3rd and 18, 3rd and 20, and 3rd, 23, 26 against wind and rain. It's tough as a quarterback. So we put him in a lot of bad situations. So our job is to put him in good situations. And I'm very confident in Aiden that he's going to come out and play his best game of the year this Saturday.
The kicking situation, is it clarified a little bit more last week, or still kind of fluid situation?
I think Jacob, he's going to be our kickoff guy. Did a good job Saturday. Mac, we're good there at a punter. Obviously, right now, I think Hunter Herring's going to be our starting field goal kicker. He kind of won the job last week. Our first day of practice this week is tomorrow. So right now, Hunter Herring's our starting kicker.
At what point did you realize you could actually kick the ball, too?
Probably Thursday. Last Thursday, Thursday's practice, he walked up. He's like, "Coach, I can kick." I said, "Really?" I said, "Have you ever done it before?" He goes, "No." I said, "So, okay, show me." 5 for 5. Next day, he nails them. So he's never kicked one in high school or kicked one in a game, but, I trust that kid, man. He's a winner. Trust him.
Does that change how you use him in offensive packages?
No, Hunter Herring's got to help us win games. And that's what, again, you don't understand sometimes when you're on the outside looking in. There's not a lot of good plays in the playbook, 2nd and 25 and 3rd and 25, and we've had a lot of stuff for him to help us win, but we played a whole half of football, 3rd and 18 plus, unfortunately.
You talk about just the team looking to respond back and bounce back. It's guys like Hunter Herring and his willingness to do anything to help the team. That's the kind of leadership that helps teams bounce back and get back on track on business.
It's the key is, look, in every business, team, family, and we're talking about 18 to 22-year-olds. Leadership and toughness and the will to embrace and understand tough times is uncommon in today. It is. And, we've got a lot of kids that are uncommon, that are willing to be led and that understand it's next day up. It's next day up. We stick together. They've got each other's back. They stay positive. They don't break, And Hunter's one of those dudes, man. He is. He's a leader. He's tough. The harder it gets, the more he grinds his teeth and goes to work.